Good morning. Welcome back to the Horgan Arena here in beautiful Auburn, Massachusetts. Battle of Bunker Hill Invitational 2019, Day 2. I am Beautiful Banshee.
And this is Johnny Weird.
Yes, and we are here to bring you game number 7 of the I almost said Mohawk Valley Cup. That was a couple of weeks ago, but Battle of Bunker Hill Invitational. And the reason why I reverted back to 2 weeks ago, because we have one of the teams presenting this morning, Mohawk Valley Roller Derby's Quad Fathers, taking on Toronto Men's Roller Derby's Outrage. Familiar matchup. Being in the Northeast, they have played each other quite a bit. They played at Mohawk Valley Cup, and of course, we have the Quad Fathers riding the high of the Mohawk Valley Cup trophy from a few weeks ago. However, they did lose to Mass Maelstrom yesterday. A few changes in the roster. We'll get to those rosters in a moment. Right now, we have Mohawk Valley in black, Toronto in white with blue accents. Jammers of record, we have Stankus for Mohawk Valley, Senior Wiener from Toronto. Pack is extending all the way from mid-front stretch out to turn 2.
And here we go with Toronto's Men Roller Derby Outrage. Senior Wiener breaking out with that lead jammer position.
Yes, and Wiener already on first scoring trip into the pack. Pushing on up in the front, there is a braced 2-wall of Mohawk Valley blockers. B. Shears out there today. He was able to join the team today, and seeing that defensive quagmire being presented right now in the back of the pack, we have a braced 2-wall of Toronto Outrage. Spencer Sleep all up in there working on Stankus, but with Senior Wiener having lead, although B. Shears not making it easy on him, he's able to get out, picking up 4. Really just a testament to the defensive power of Mohawk Valley. It took Senior Wiener the better part of 40 seconds to even get out for a complete scoring trip. So right now, Toronto puts up 4. They draw first blood. So no points for Mohawk Valley Roller Derby because Toronto's defense doing such a great job to hold Stankus.
All right, and it looks like now we have D-Ray up for Outrage, and we have House Star number 603 for the Quad Fathers.
And while things get started here, we will introduce the teams. Oh, forgive me. Just working with some sound system.
Quiet. No one can hear me.
I can hear you.
It's a little
That's better.
I think.
That's much better.
Yeah.
But it's even better. Right now, House Tar is pretty happy. Starting it off, picking up lead. D-Ray still getting caught up in the pack because D. Shears out there with Fuerza Brutal, putting some serious hurt and brakes on him, but he's able to juke around. Pack is getting pretty fluid as it goes into turn 2. Now we're seeing House Tar cycle back. D-Ray free on his initial, so eligible to score now. Toronto working the drawback, no points for Toronto on this. And we'll see, yes, now it's evened up, a 4-point tie because House Tar got an axe to grind after yesterday. I think that, Mohawk Valley not pleased with the outcome. They wanted the win yesterday, so they're even hungrier this morning. So we know how it is. Blockers like to eat jammers for breakfast.
Yeah, and it's pretty early. It's definitely breakfast time, so I think they're all going for that. And I think everyone's just hungry after day 1. They want to get back in the action, get back to it.
Yeah. And hey there, Amber Lance. Thanks for joining us on the twitch.tv stream here on Nerd Derby. And 151 Biff Malibu facing off against Deb Crush of the Quad Fathers. And Deb Crush being sneaky, using that low center of gravity, dips around on the turn 1 apex. Lead secured. And currently, Toronto's defense, doing what they can to divide El Majestic and Deb Crush, but 4 points for the Quad Fathers. In the meantime, Biff Malibu getting caught up in that brace tripod. That is one I would not want to be caught in. That is Salkowski, as well as B. Shears and Rufo. Just absolute powerhouse, aggressive hockey backgrounds, and of course, veteran derby going on right before us.
Yeah, and it looks like Rufon has been sent to the box, so looks like we were able to make a little bit more headway for Outrage, but they're, again, caught up against those blockers in the front of the pack. finally making their way through on that first initial pass, now able to score some points.
Jam is called. And let's see, we'll get those final tallies. 11 points for Mohawk Valley, taking them to 15. So, of course, breaking the tie and making them quite happy. So 15-4, just 4.5 minutes in, but this is a great indication of what's to come. Stankus taking the star for the Quad Fathers versus Senior Wiener. We're seeing that tight jammer rotation. So while we have a sec, your skaters from the Quad Fathers wearing black today with the orange accents. Stankus out there putting in the work against Senior Wiener. 0-1-0-1, Deb Crush. 10-13, El Majestic. 11-16, Pulio. 12-13, Foyers Brutal. 16-18, Rufo. 202 Defunk. 315, D Shears. 35, B Shears. 43, Chapin. 48, Oxen Free. 6, Salkowski. 603, House Tar. 79, Toe Cutter. 87, Stankus. And 96, Stever. He's their captain. That was a quick jam, 4 points put up. So 19 points for Mohawk Valley now, just 4 for Toronto.
All right, and we can get to the Toronto Men's Roller Derby. Outrage their team today. We have number 100, Pink Slaminade. Number 11, Billy the Kid. 1234, Street Fight Manifesto. 137, D-Ray. 151, Biff Malibu. 1528, Just Tara. 17, it's Kitty. 210 is Boxcar, the captain today. 222, Spencer Sleep. 5139, Armand Hammer, and number 888, Senior Wiener.
Yes, it's written as Senor. However, we all know it said Senior Wiener. Sneaky like that.
Better, yeah.
Now, on the track, your jammers of record are House Tar for Mohawk Valley, but D-Ray securing lead for Toronto, really just running it out of the pack. And it took about 35 seconds for lead to be secured, so really a testament to the Mohawk Valley defense. Star has been passed now to El Majestic. El Majestic been pivoting a great deal this weekend and taking the star on several occasions.
Looks like D-Ray had taken a hard hit on that first turn. Was able to score 2 more points and called off that jam before the Quad Fathers were able to put anything else up to increase their lead.
Yes, and we're seeing a few different folks. I don't believe we saw Biff Malibu out there yesterday. We've got him on the track for Toronto and ready to jam against Pulio. Some folks in the Derby community know him as FJ, aka Fat Jammer. I like to say the FJ is Fancy Jammer, but lead secured by Pulio early out. And right now, the pack advantage is strong for Mohawk Valley as 2 blockers in the box for Toronto. So they've got 3 out there. Right now, Rufo standing in the penalty box. 4 points up. First scoring trip for Pulio.
Yeah, Pulio showing that Fancy Jammer footwork like you just said, taking a little leap over that corner just then.
Well, see, that's it. He's a fancy wrecking ball because he can use the brute force, but at the same time, the footwork skills are there.
Fancy wrecking ball would be a good derby
name,
too.
Yes. And Biff Malibu does the star stash, is able to get out on his initial direction of gameplay call on D Shears, having a seat. And let's see, other than D Shears, we have a clear penalty box, so 4-3 pack advantage heading into Jam 7 for Toronto. Chad's not fully ramped up yet, I guess, in the chat. That's all good. It is day 2, and yesterday there was a lot of energy drinks going on, and we would like to thank Monster Energy Drink for fueling the Battle of Bunker Hill Invitational 2019. We appreciate you because that Zero Sugar Ultra Paradise and Zero Sugar Ultra Violet kept me running yesterday. And speaking of running, we have people up and running into turn 2, cycled back to turn 1, seeing a couple of penalties happen here. El Majestic to the box for Mohawk Valley. And number 17, that is Kitty, off to the penalty box for Toronto.
All right, doesn't look like any
scoreless.
Points. Yeah.
first one of the entire game. So still a 24-point advantage for the Quad Fathers. They sit at 30. Toronto sits at 6 points. We are 9.5 minutes into the game, and Jam 8 upon us.
Housetar and D-Ray getting ready to go. Nice low stance from Housetar right off of that line. Both teams kind of in gridlock against those Triforce. Oh, and there we go. Housetar going ahead, grabbing lead jam position.
And that braced 2-wall, a thing of beauty but also pain, put up by Mohawk Valley off the line. Forza Brutal and Defunk really just not allowing any daylight, let alone D-Ray. He is able to maneuver around, but it took a bit.
Just 4 more points going up for Mohawk Valley.
Now, D-Ray pulling double duty. As we know, most folks in Derby wear multiple hats. This weekend, though, at Battle of Bunker Hill, D-Ray has been coaching Muddy River's team. He's been subbing for Coach Chuck, who's been out sick. So he's been helping the Lumber Smacks all weekend. So great to see D-Ray able to utilize the coaching skills. And, of course, we send the best of luck and get well soon wishes to Chuck.
Looks like we have an
official timeout now. It was a little tough to tell, but it's pretty funny. Rufo with the pivot stripe right there, and he has his hands up adjusting and almost perfectly positioned in front of our jam timer with the official timeout.
I know, just a perfect silhouette, just blocking exactly what we needed to see.
And that is, since we were talking about officials, let's talk about our officials roster. So our non-skating officials, we'll get started with them, given the inspiration by Sixtat, who is retiring roller derby after 8 years. So today, at the end of the day, she is done as an NSO and will become a fan.
Yeah.
Which is great. And she's someone that I have actually come up through Derby with. So I got to give her a shout out, our jam timer out there, Sixtat, who is going by the Derby name RVGB today. And you can feel free to choose your own adventure and come up with what that means. But RVGB. And so Matant is the head NSO for this game, joined by Bradysaurus Rex, RVGB, Just Sean, Sprocket, D-Baggins, Kiki Linky, Killenny, Lopez, and Apex Predator. On skates, our head referee for this game is Axis of Stevel. This will be Painful, Wifo, Dizzy DeCapo, Babble Fishy, Peterson, and Decrypt Keeper. So from what I understand, Nerd Derby has a fantabulous production sponsor. So let's talk about the production sponsor. From what I understand, that is none other than Sociopath.
Yep, Sociopath is their skate-around business offering custom sewn-to-order leg wear for teams and individuals. They include size-inclusive activewear designed to fit you. Sociopath also offers dozens of armband, helmet cover options for scrimmage and competition. They offer team discounts. Please see sociopath.ca for more details. You'll see that nice ad up there. Looks like they come in a variety of lengths, colors, pocket sizes, anything you need. Get those armbands with the numbers. You don't have to worry about Sharpies. And whenever we're going to find out Sharpies due to our skin in a few years. All right, and it looks like we're back at the action. And here we go. Looks like we have Deb Crush for the Quad Fathers and Biff Malibu skating for Outrage.
So Deb Crush, many folks know, in addition to being a rad skater in roller derby, this is her 10th year as a roller derby skater, but first year in the MRDA, securing lead at about 15 seconds in. She's also the proprietor of rollerderbymerch.com.
Oh, wow.
Yes, makers of the exclusive Battle of Bunker Hill Invitational 2019 tees and tanks.
Fantastic.
Yes, and the rollerderbymerch.com booth over there is also known as the Crop Stop. She'll also convert things into a crop top for you. 4 points up for Biff Malibu.
Biff Malibu making their way around.
So Deb Crush ended up in the penalty box. It is now a power jam for Biff Malibu in Toronto. Time to turn things around, perhaps. Seeing a great pick in there coming from Just Tara, a veritable force offensively. But right now, the swarm of B Shears and D Shears out there in the front, putting the brakes on Biff Malibu, hoping for the penalty kill as Deb Crush is now standing in the box. And the pack moving on into the back stretch. Seeing pack split a bit, Zalkowski and B Shears at the front. Now, B Shears has no problem being a wall of one. Always better together, though. Zalkowski there, not quite in time. Biff Malibu is able to escape a total of 8 points over 2 scoring trips. And a static pack, oh no, not so static. Just Tara going to attack the links between Rufo and Zalkowski with B Shears.
Yeah, Just Tara playing some offense, trying to get some room on that inside line for Biff Malibu to move around, but it looks like we're still stuck around that wall.
Well, Just Tara's offense may not have assisted her own jammer. It did go Rufo, but it also opened a hole for Deb Crush going on up that outside line. So let's see, a total of 4 points for Deb Crush and the Quad Fathers, but 12 for Biff Malibu in Toronto. So now only a 20-point lead for the Quad Fathers. They sit at 38, Toronto at 18, and we are almost done with the first quarter of the game. Jam 10's upon us, and yes, there is a timeout, officially speaking. So I was going to bring up with Deb Crush having brought those shirts, being the provider of the merchandise through rollerderbymerch.com. She does that for a lot of events, but something great if you're coming by the venue today, because many folks are still listening locally as they get started. You can have those shirts customized by Unicycle Turtle. Goldie Gloves is on the premises. She has her heat press, and you can get your shirt customized with your name and number with regulation size derby numbers, of course, at a very reasonable price. But something that Toronto doesn't find reasonable right now, Senior Wiener is not your lead jammer. Stankus is from Mohawk Valley.
Stank is finding some difficulty getting through the pack right there and calling off that jam after scoring just 3 points in order to increase their lead and keep Toronto from grabbing anything else. High fives all around as the group skates off the track.
The best part is, Johnny, with the teams that we have at this invitational, I do love that it's an invitational because in this particular case, Mass Maelstrom, when they invited teams, be it the WFTDA teams or the MRDA teams, they chose teams that are within a very similar ranking, but also local-ish and very friendly. So the camaraderie is even better than usual here because just a couple of weeks ago they were all together again and they all have a great time together. Oh, seeing the slow grind being presented by a braced 2-wall with B Shears at the helm. D-Ray getting caught up in the middle, but it appears we have a cutting the track penalty assessed to Haustar, who's having a seat in the box for the Quad Fathers. And D-Ray getting a little bit of O from his buddies out there, working the power jam, hoping to thwart that defense of Al Majestic and B Shears at the front of the pack. And B Shears going with the shoulder and taking him to the inside line in the back stretch and successfully drawing back both El Majestic and B Shears, taking D-Ray to the top of the back stretch. And right now, Haustar released from the penalty box. So successful penalty kill for Mohawk Valley. But D-Ray out, secures lead at 1 minute, 12 seconds. Perseverance pays off. What is all of this I'm seeing in the Twitch chat? Restart your toaster, RGB toaster?
You're way behind now.
Oh, RBGB? Is this because I said RVGB?
Oh, is it?
For it's RV, so it's in recreational vehicle. G as in goat, and B as in blue. RVGB.
We thought
I like
we thought it was RBG.
No, RV.
Maybe
RV as in recreational vehicle, like your camper. Did you bring your camper?
No, that's
Chad has a camper trailer that he traveled to La Foire du Nord with, and now he's a camper diva.
yeah, because I already had booked the hotel room before I got the
Oh, he booked a hotel. But more importantly, Julio jamming up against Biff Malibu.
Julio getting sent to the back of the pack there, and Biff Malibu is able to grab that lead jammer position for Outrage. Coming up again on that pack. Looks like we have a solid wall ready to take them on.
So Rufo, pivot for Mohawk Valley, sitting in the box currently. So there was a 4-3 pack advantage, but right now Kitty having a seat in the penalty box for Toronto, so now it's 3-on-3 in the pack. Now Spencer Sleep really making the most of that last line of defense, recycling. Julio, check that out. Spencer Sleep, he was chosen as the MRDA North American qualifier last year as the tournament MVP. We can obviously see why, but he's even better when he's with his team out there, but that looked like it really hurt.
Yeah, couple stumbles, couple falls, makes it back up, only to be knocked back down. See if we have a replay on that. And then, just missed that last knockdown there.
But the impressive thing is, because of the handiwork of Sleep, the Toronto held Julio scoreless. It was 4 points up for Toronto on that. They sit at 24. Mohawk Valley at 41, and we have just 12 minutes, 45 seconds remaining in period one, and a team timeout has been called by Toronto. So coming on up here at Battle of Bunker Hill Invitational 2019 at 11 a.m., we have an additional MRDA game. Mass Maelstrom, our host league, versus Montreal's Roller Derby Masculines, Mont Royals. That will be coming up. And then carrying on with some WFTDA games.
Yep.
Sorry. Go ahead.
1 o'clock, we have Muddy River versus Twin State. And then following them at 3 p.m., we have Maine versus Providence.
Oh, all the folks on Twitch saying it would be more fun if I was a random bird. Yes, Fraggle. That's amazing. M-D-A? Oh, M-I-D-A. Yeah. Thanks. M-R-D-A. I didn't say M-I-D-A. I said M-R-D-A.
Oh, a little bit ago. It came out with a little southern Massachusetts twist. Sounds like a completely different word.
M-I-D-A, M-I-D-A. And they'll be like, what's that? M-R-D-A, the Men's Roller Derby Association.
M-I-D-A.
Yeah, but you see, there is a difference. And usually I only let it slip out when I'm announcing for the Wicked Pisses at Boston. But sometimes it happens.
Can't help it.
It's like CAC and his South Coast kid, Rhode Island kid. But we have more amazing things on the track right now, courtesy of Canada. That's right, from Toronto. That is Senior Wiener securing lead, though Stankus from the Quad Fathers about a quarter lap behind. Pack currently extending in the back stretch, a little bit divided. Toronto at the back aiming to contain Stankus, successfully so.
Nice little jump from Senior Wiener, scoring him those 4 points before he's calling off the jam.
And just one for Stankus and the Quad Fathers. They maintain their lead. They're at 42. Toronto is at 28. I love that you put it in phonetics. That's really funny because I've never thought about it that way. That looks hilarious.
D-Ray and Housetar lining up once again.
Now that 4-3 pack advantage again in favor of Toronto because their pivot is in the box right now. El Majestic standing, so he'll be returning soon.
But Mohawk Valley 1-2-1-3. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Fierza Brutal?
Oh, Fuerza Brutal.
Fuerza. She's doing some excellent defense. I keep seeing her in that pack, breaking up those walls of Toronto and blasting through, making walls and holes for her team. She's doing a great job.
And Fuerza Brutal, actually, congratulations to her. A little late, but within the last couple of months, she just recently completed her nursing degree.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know that Mohawk Valley shared this on their Facebook, and I thought that was pretty rad. You know, got to celebrate all of the accomplishments on track and off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Deb Crush from Mohawk Valley, hiding behind her wall of blockers, her sneak attack.
That nice low center of gravity does pay off in many ways.
Oh, absolutely. So many people think you need to be nice and big in order to play roller derby, but sometimes it's the smaller frames that get you the most advantage, able to get through those small holes.
A shirt whip off of Zalkowski. It was a thing of beauty. Deb Crush making it work. And let's see what's going on here. We're seeing some communication from Dirk Shearer, jam referee, telling Deb something, but she lost her mouth guard. So it went off track. So we have a quick pass of the star to Defunk, her pivot. It's a good thing that she had him available, because making sure that equipment malfunction did not impact the team any further. Biff Malibu is out there, but there's no lead jammer. Biff Malibu currently in the box, so power jam for Defunk. Another skater who is a longtime member of Mohawk Valley Roller Derby, very solid, and always having fun on the track, which is just a joy to watch. And that aggressive jamming style allowing him to power through. So we're going to take a moment and get a medic over there, and we're going to, give them some space and make sure that attention is given. 12 points up for Mohawk Valley, taking them to 54-29 for Toronto. Just about 9 minutes remain at the end of Jam 15. Now, a couple of things here, just looking at the rosters. Seeing, I know that there have been a few folks who have played, who are playing today that were not here yesterday. So those folks, specifically B. Shears and Stankus, they were not here yesterday. So we're seeing the impact on the track right now, though it is a relatively close game. Seeing big gains coming from not only Mohawk Valley, but Toronto. In the past, we may have seen a greater disparity in the score, but it's really just the statement. Toronto right out the gate, not so much on a big scoring end, but more so defensively, really putting those brakes on.
Yeah, still a very close game. We still have 9 minutes left in that first half.
Ooh, the replay here, that shirt whip. That shirt whip off of Zalkowski right in turn one is a thing of beauty. Came on up. So Zalkowski comes up out of the wall, cuts over to the outside line.
Yep.
And that's because that's where she lost her mouth guard.
You can see the ref bend down to pick it up, see it bounce right. Ding-a-ding-a-ding.
Oh,
there we go. Ref grabs
wow. I mean, that was a good catch from the referee. But still, how unfortunate that she had the equipment malfunction in that moment. But still, that was a great shirt whip. And I love that we were able to catch it. So thank you, Chad.
Yeah, no problem.
Well done.
No problem.
Nerd Derby's attention to detail. So just to make you aware, we had a boxcar who is captain of Toronto Roller Derby, the Outrage. She did hit the floor pretty hard and was down for a moment, able to get up of her own accord.
Hey, yeah, okay, you got it. That's good.
But the good thing is, we're able to get some excellent medical attention pretty quickly. And she'll probably sit out for a few jams. But Boxcar has been a really great force on the track for Toronto this season at Mohawk Valley Cup. Really able to do a great job reining in the team and emphasizing their play and keeping the defense tight. Also saw that at April Angst. So thank you to our buddies out there on Twitch TV chiming in on the chat. I know it's early, I salute you, raise my coffee to you, whether you have coffee, an energy drink, or whatnot. Hope you are having fun. I know Chad has his very tall not tall, venti. Am I right?
That's a venti.
That's a venti, because tall is small at Starbucks. I have to remember this.
Well, that's because there's a short. There's
Yeah.
a little known
Oh,
short,
there's
and
a
that's why
short.
there's a short, a tall, a grande, and a venti.
Oh, okay. Because for me, it's either all or very little. So I didn't know about the short, but it's usually I get a tall or a venti.
Yeah.
There's no in between for me.
That's exactly how I feel. Starbucks drinks.
Yeah. So
Like
I'm with you, Johnny.
Grande's an amateur game.
Yeah, exactly. You're like,
Well, now they have the Trenta. And the ice
really?
It's a 30 ounce.
well, yes, because Trenta is 30 in Spanish.
Which is why they get the venti.
Sí. Yes. I love it. Me gusta mucho. Okay, so looks like there's some evaluation going on. An official review was called by Toronto, I believe, as a result of the action that brought Boxcar to the floor. So we'll get details for you when it's available.
It looked like friendly fire.
It could have been friendly fire, but we will wait and see what's going on, because there's obviously something that our officials are conferring about. And just to point out, there will be a power start for the Quad Fathers upon our next jam, because Biff Malibu is sitting in the penalty box all by himself, looking lonely. But it's okay. He'll return to his friends on the track once everybody's back at it. And I was going to mention, for our friends who are on Twitch, if you were not familiar, many are, but of course, when you're telling your friends about twitch.tv/nerdderby, share those links, because we have live derby all day, and there's an archive, so you can always go back to watch and review the footage. But there's a donate button if you choose to support the efforts of Chad and Lady Lana, bringing you high-quality, beautiful roller derby broadcast for the low, low price of $3.99 to you, friends. So if you would like to support their efforts, use that donate button. Otherwise, something else you can do that costs you $0, because if you're an Amazon Prime member, you're already paying for Prime. You, too, can subscribe.
How are we gonna do this next jam? Same as last time. Skate fast, turn left, jam line, pivot line, win time. Let's get this W, Ferda. Ferda.
Well, if that's how you want it, pop them on it. Let's get on it.
Well, you're the pivot. Let's get with it.
This is fascinating. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. Okay, no call stands. Okay, just had to get some clarification from our alt referee Guinness, who was kind enough to explain that Toronto had called an official review because they were seeking an equipment violation against Mohawk Valley. Remember how we did the instant replay of Deb Crush's mouthguard? That was a spare mouthguard that she was carrying on her. She had a mouthguard in the entire time, but that she was waved off the track. Luckily, had already passed to Defunk. But yes, so they were seeking an equipment violation. The no call will stand, and of course, they do not retain their official review.
That's crazy.
It is an interesting request, and also interesting to have a spare mouthguard. I mean, kudos to Deb Crush. I mean, she's living that mom life, being prepared. You know,
Yeah, definitely a mom skill
But
there.
it really is a mom skill, and I say this because she's a rad mom. She has a 3-year-old named, she calls her Rowdy Piper Lynn. She's Piper Lynn, and she actually gave this to us in our fun facts, but I'm friends with her on Facebook, and I see pictures of Rowdy Piper Lynn all the time. Coolest little girl in the world. But yes, Deb Crush packing the spare mouth guard. So no equipment violation on Mohawk Valley. We return to gameplay.
Looks like Stankus started with that power jam, but we do have Biff Malibu back on the track already, and both jammers are doing their best to try and get through those packs. No one's able to make through these walls of defense, but it's like a windmill. We have people falling down. We have people flailing their arms.
Okay, what are we seeing here? Lead secured by Biff Malibu. Stankus off to the penalty box, cutting the track penalty assessed. So that means power jam for Toronto. See what they can do with Biff Malibu out there. And, of course, Billy the Kid getting up in there, working some offense. Spencer Sleep doing the same, though a forearm call being assessed to Spencer Sleep. So no pivot for Biff Malibu, just in case he needs to pass. Billy the Kid attacking the links, but right now it's a 4-3 pack advantage for Mohawk Valley. Jam is called. 4 points, though, for Toronto. So despite getting caught up in it, he did manage to pass all the hips.
Right, we have Senior Wiener up, starting with a power start up against Mohawk Valley. So we have those blockers all the way up at that pivot line to start. Giving him a little bit more speed and a little bit more track to work with. Oh, nope, moving back now.
And also, it had to do with El Majestic taking the line, using the pivot rule, you know, putting the toe on the line, and everybody else on the opposing team has to make sure that their hips are behind the pivot. Otherwise, they will have to, they will receive a false start call and have to yield. So I could see the point of it, and it did allow Senior Wiener a little bit of room, lead, but Stankus returns pretty quickly from the penalty box and hot on his heels.
Yep, absolutely. And it looks like we have our pivot back to Spencer Sleep joining us once again after he was stint in the penalty box.
Now Wiener spinning around, getting past Rufo, though getting caught up on Zalkowski. We saw some linkage of arms, though it was not observed by the referee. You know, there's a lot going on in there, but we do see 4 points for Stankus and Mohawk Valley, keeping it 4-4. So 58 for Mohawk Valley. Their lead only 18 points to Toronto's 40 now. 6 minutes, 20 seconds remain on the period clock. Yes, for our audience on the interwebs, you were all here for the weird mouthguard call. Thank you. We are united in this. All right, D-Ray working the inside line and going butt first, cutting around with the hips on the inside line, though getting cycled to the outside lane by that brace tripod, brace two wall in the front. Seeing him really push out the pack further into 1.5. D-Ray's perseverance pays off. Lead secured at 23 seconds. We're seeing number 1, 2, 3, 4, Street Fight Manifesto to the penalty box.
Looks like that was based off of multiplayer.
And Housestar did break free, so now eligible on a scoring trip. Did D-Ray stop him from picking up points? No. So 3 points for Mohawk, no points for Toronto on that, despite the labor of D-Ray.
All right, looks like we have Julio and Senior Wiener. I'm going to call him Senior Wiener all day.
You can just call him Wiener. He's fine with that. Oh, what's really funny is I went to page Peter over the house earlier today, and Toronto was warming up. Wiener comes over. He's like, "What do you need, Banshee?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You paged me?" I said, "Oh, no." I said, Peter. And he goes, "Oh, I thought you said Senior Wiener." I was like, "No, but thank you."
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
People listen to us.
Yeah.
What?
Who'd have thought? Well, partially because we didn't call him.
I know. He tried. Well, venue system is not necessarily to the standards of New England Roller Derby Report.
Yeah, he got the sound there.
Why is Chad Googling balloons?
I think he's Googling blimps.
Oh, blimps. Okay, 4 points up for Senior Wiener. Meanwhile, we have Julio coming on up. He had stashed the star. There was a multiplayer block call against Spencer Sleep.
A little bit of a belly flop there.
And Julio does escape the pack, now on a scoring trip, but Toronto's defense did a great job locking that down. Now here we go, fancy wrecking ball time. Julio using some force in the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Senior Wiener using those fancy feet of his to get through. 4 points up. And we're seeing a no point, no penalty for Julio, so he only picks up 3. Ooh, and the apex jump, though, does not land inbounds and in play. Cycles back Senior Wiener into turn 4 and caught up on El Majestic and Rufo, braced by B Shears, keeping it slow, but Julio driven out by Kitty along with Pink Slaminade. Working the inside line, but Spencer Sleep is right there covering it.
Julio looks like he might be getting a little winded. Team's trying to rile him up to make his way back into that pack.
Zolkowski, you know, using a little bit of the experienced hockey skater motivation, cheering on his jammer. Okay, so a team timeout. Oh no, official review for the Quad Fathers. So a little quiet getting the day started here at Horgan Arena, but that's because, you know, everybody's going to get that caffeine in, get the adrenaline going.
Get all their stretches before they get back in their spandex.
That's right. Well, hey, you know, it happens, but I thought that was actually really nice. You saw the stretching areas, right?
Yeah.
So Mass Maelstrom, they set up a bunch of yoga mats and workout mats with foam rollers, and there are a couple of designated stretching areas here in the venue. Brilliant idea.
Oh, yeah.
Because many times skaters, as much as we will train at practice and cross-train otherwise, after a game, many times people forget. They just go, oh, I'm tired. Well, it's really not good for your muscles. You don't recover well. So kudos to Mass Maelstrom for being so thoughtful.
Yeah, encouraging that good self-care.
I love it. Self-care is so important. Thank you, Ed Manley, for the Prime subscription to New England Roller Derby Report.
We've had a few subscriptions here.
I love it. Thank all of you. What is it? Fallen? Or Phelan?
I think it's Phelan with a
Fail
3.
3 in? Yes, thank you.
And Plain Old Jim also subscribed.
Ah, Plain Old Jim. How's it going, buddy?
We love Plain Old Jim.
Yeah, we do. Plain Old Jim rocks. So we'll get some information shortly for you. So, you know, I know this is not Derby related, but Johnny Weird, you have an event you're stepping out to today.
Yeah, I'm getting a little nervous. I'm going to meet Billy Zane around noon.
What is the event again?
Oh, it's a Scaricon over in Fairhaven.
Ooh. Oh, it's in Fairhaven?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So it's like half an hour.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of driving this week.
You're heading back Rhode Island way. I mean, I say Rhode Island way because that's really like on the way-ish, depending upon what part.
Well, it's like east.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
east. Well, I just think 195. Also, I go all over the map, so I just think, oh, yeah, that's, well, I'll shout out to my friends at Mass Attack Roller Derby, my roller derby alma mater, where I started, because they are housed in Fairhaven. But that's cool. Whereabouts in Fairhaven are they having that event?
It's at the Sheraton.
Oh, okay. I was
Sheraton.
wondering.
It looks like a castle.
Really?
It's a pretty interesting designed
fancy
hotel. I'll take a picture, show you later.
Well, for the folks who do not know Johnny Weird, you know, one of the announcer stables at Providence Roller Derby, just a mainstay there, with CAC being the head announcer there, and fashion. I'm just going to say Johnny Weird's fashion sense is fabulous, and you really need to come down and visit us, because just for the fashion alone, and also the excellent banter you have with CAC at Alex Anani Center on June 1st. It was our home team opener, and I was skating with my team, the Mob Squad. It's also Pride Month, as we know, And Johnny had a glorious rainbow wig. They were really awesome. What was it? Your arm fringe?
Yeah, I had some arm warmers and some fringe, very
Those were
Randy
glorious.
Savage.
It was, but so classy.
Yeah, I like the breeze picking it up.
Yes.
Has a little Michael Jackson action going on.
It was amazing. But I'll tell you about CAC in a second.
Looks like we're just getting some feedback from our alt ref about that official review, so we will find out what that was all about in just a moment.
Yes, and there was actually, I love your fashion critique of CAC, because your fashion critique of CAC, he had breakaway pants on, and we know he loves his leggings, his spandex
yes.
leggings. He had flare, rainbow, like oil slick type print leggings underneath breakaway pants. And I believe, to quote you, you said, it's a look, it's a choice.
It's a look, it's a choice. Well, my first words were hachi machi.
Oh, that didn't get caught up on the mic.
I think it does if you replay the video, but the crowd was going wild, so.
I have to go back. I took the video, and it was great. It was so much fun. But the official review, now that everything has resumed, I just thought it was worth mentioning, though, because I could not stop laughing. It was great. But you do. There's a particular fashion sense Johnny has, and let me tell you, inspirational. But my whole point with this, we were going to the official review. Guinness came on over, and Mohawk Valley was seeking a cut call against Senior Wiener on Toronto, but it was deemed that the jammer had superior position to the skater on Mohawk Valley that they alleged drew the cut. So therefore, no call stands. Official review not retained. But right now, battle between D-Ray and Stankus on the track. But Stankus ends up with a penalty. So now a power jam for D-Ray and Toronto.
Yeah, seeing some hard defense in there by Mohawk Valley's pivot Defunk. Doing his best to try and keep D-Ray back, but, oh, yep, he was successful. Got knocked out to the inside, had to circle around back.
Now we're seeing D Shears with the drawback to 1.5 on D-Ray. Working that penalty kill, or that's what they're aiming for, and it looks successful because Stankus has returned, makes his way around Spencer Sleep with a quickness. 4 points for Mohawk Valley. D-Ray still without points on this scoring trip. Getting beaten down a little, is driven out. Stankus, total of 8 points, putting Mohawk Valley at 77. There are 45 seconds remaining on the period clock. There were 4 points awarded to D-Ray after all of that. So 56 right now for Toronto. They are just 21 points behind. Mohawk Valley sitting at 77.
And it looks like we just have about 30 seconds left. So this will probably be that final jam for the first half of the first game of the second day of Battle of Bunker Hill.
Ooh, Chapin, who we have yet to see with the star in this game. With the star right now for Mohawk Valley versus Biff Malibu. Biff Malibu getting caught up in Rufo Zalkowski and El Majestic, taking him to the infield. Though Biff Malibu steps over. Let's see if he's able to overcome. Not so. Those fresh legs of Chapin securing lead pretty quickly. Chapin highly competitive. Everyone here is, but you tend to see the drive in his eyes as he comes around the track. B Shears to the penalty box.
Lots of D right here, giving a slow moving pack.
Did you see that straightaway jump from El Majestic to get back?
Lots of hopping and skipping. 4 more points going up for Mohawk Valley.
3-on-3 in the pack right now. Mohawk Valley getting close, hoping to distract Toronto's blockers. Okay, 4-0. Oh no, 8-0 for Mohawk Valley on that jam. They sit at 85. Toronto 56.
And that brings us into intermission.
Just wow. Definitely seeing a re-energized Mohawk Valley, but also Toronto, putting things out there and saying, hey, we're not going to let this go easily. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes, and we'll give you an update on penalty counts.
All right.
All right, and welcome back. We are just getting ready to start the second half of Mohawk Valley Roller Derby Quad Fathers against the Toronto Men's Roller Derby Outrage.
Yes, at Game 7 here at Battle of Bunker Hill Invitational 2019. I'm Beautiful Banshee.
And I'm Johnny Weird.
Yes, the wonderful Johnny Weird. So at halftime, lots of goings on here, specifically with penalties. Both teams keeping it pretty even. The Quad Fathers sitting at 21 penalties as a team, while Toronto's at 20. So like I said, keeping it pretty even. Now, the way it shows as far as who might be in jeopardy of perhaps accruing 7, we don't know. That remains to be seen. But the highest penalty count on Toronto would be Spencer Sleep with 5 right now. So heading into period 2 with only 2 remaining before potential fallout. So we'll see if he's reserved a bit and, sitting on the bench. But I doubt it. He is a key piece of their defense. And D Shears on Mohawk Valley sits at 4. That's the maximum penalty count for any of their skaters. So today they appear to have cleaned it up a bit. Yesterday they ran into quite a bit of penalty activity against Mass Maelstrom, and that was really to their detriment. But today, seeing a fresh start, first game of the day, and we ended things with period 1. Mohawk Valley ahead 85 to Toronto's 56. And during halftime, we were involved in a costuming project.
Yes, we talked about the fashion during the first half, and
Yes.
I said, I have chaps in my car. Let me go get them.
and those chaps were to be lent to our tournament head announcer, Crimson Alchemia. We know he is the Pharaoh Fantabulous, and he's known for his costume choices. And you were so gracious as to help him, and we zipped him into black fringed suede chaps. It's a sight to see, friends. He's operating the camera right now, and if you see him on camera later, I think you'll enjoy it. But back to what's going on before us. We're enjoying Stankus as lead jammer against Senior Wiener. Sleep with the drawback to turn 1 on Stankus. But right now, B Shears bracing that 2-wall at the front as it heads into the back stretch. Senior Wiener hits the floor, but right back up, using that momentum, not losing it. But 4 points as Stankus surpasses the pack.
Yeah, Mohawk doing a great job in recycling those blonkers and keeping Senior Wiener back behind that wall.
El Majestic watching the pack. Bishir Salkowski and Rufo recoil as Senior Wiener exits. 1 blocker to the box. That would be Kitty. Oh, I'm sorry, not Kitty. Billy the Kid for Toronto. So 8 points in total for Mohawk Valley. They sit at 93. Toronto 56.
We
2
have,
minutes, 20 seconds.
yeah, House Star and D-Ray lining up. Tape Ninjas circling the track.
Yes, though they're missing their headgear today. Did you notice yesterday? The Tape Ninja actually had a headpiece that looks like a little ninja headband, like a Ninja Turtle.
I think we should make that an official
My-
uniform piece.
Yeah, uniform piece. I like it. Right now, though, D-Ray, not really a fan of the Mohawk Valley defense. It is pretty strong, though. He's doing his best to juke around, able to find a hole and gets through at 20 seconds, lead to his credit. Housetar still at the back of the pack as it expands into turn 2 from 1.5, has escaped, and pack moving ever so slowly. D-Ray runs through, calls it with 4 points. Smart, quick thinking, those small builds. Look at that. Look at that. We got the run and the little hop. There we go.
Nice instant replay there. D-Ray jumping over that corner, just making his way through.
And it really speaks to the crush that was presented. I believe that was Boxcar back at the track pivoting. And Pink Slaminade, really pushing Mohawk Valley's defense inward. It's really nice when that gets captured on camera. I love it. Biff Malibu securing lead, taking that inside line against Deb Crush.
Yeah, nice and quick. We've seen a lot of slow starts to see who can grab the lead. Deb is not far behind, though. She is making her way around.
Now Biff Malibu, driven to the infield, is able to call it off, prevent any points being scored by Deb Crush, despite her sneaky bean dip on the outside straightaway. But 1 point for Toronto. We'd like to thank our host league, Mass Maelstrom Roller Derby, for putting on Battle of Bunker Hill Invitational 2019. We are in year 4. It's amazing. Both Kak and I have had the pleasure of being a part of the event since its inception. And it is wonderful to have you on the crew with us, Johnny.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're all about, building an announcer fan. And it's one of those where you go, oh, like, let's bring in some new blood. It's very exciting. Pink's Laminated Boxcar with the run back on on Stankus. He goes by Melvin Stankus, and interesting thing, Melvin Stankus was the name of his cat. Cat's no longer with him, but he chose the name Stankus because of the cat. And I think that's a worthy hashtag cats of MRDA right there, hashtag. And Stankus, making it look easy, taking down the blocker as he goes through on that inside line in the backstretch. Adds 4.
Making his cat proud.
Yeah.
Throwing those points up on the
You
board
know
with
it.
his name.
Doing it for Melvin Stankus, Esquire, cat. And we're seeing Pink Slaminate along with Armin Hammer putting the brakes on at least for a few seconds on Stankus. And Boxcar was the one down low. We couldn't really see her. Pretty amazing. And we just got some presents. Micah Pathak came over, threw some buttons our way.
Oh, that's different.
Very nice. We got the hookup from Mass Maelstrom and Get Hungry.
Fantastic.
That's a Bamcat design. That's cool. But the jam ends a total of 12 points for Stankus. So 105 puts them past the century mark. Oh, that beautiful blocking right there. That was Armin Hammer who drove him out. But really just wonderful control from Stankus.
Yeah, staying right up on those toe stops so he does not go over the line. That's where stretching comes into play.
Oh, yes.
Real easy to get a Charlie horse up on those toe stops.
Oof. Yeah. Let's not. That's not a good, not good. Not even just not a good look, not a good feeling.
I almost just got one flexing my toe here at the table. So
Oh, no! You need the stretching area.
Yeah.
But wait till you return from meeting Billy Zane.
Yeah. I know, I might need to limber up for that.
Limber up. Gonna meet Billy Zane.
Lead jammer going to Toronto.
Yep,
D-Ray.
Plenty limber. Probably use the stretching area despite not meeting Billy Zane.
Yeah.
But right now in that backstretch, unfortunately, D-Ray picks up a cutting the track penalty. He is off to the penalty box. So Chapin and the Quad Fathers have a power jam. Spencer Sleep dragging it back all the way to the pivot line. Doing what he do. Teaming up there with Boxcar and Armin Hammer. Making it work. So let's see. Oh, I apologize. That is not Armin Hammer. Skater's beard is too short. But the sweep to the line there on the outside, and Sleep taking it all the way back to the jammer line, saying, okay, let's bring it back now. You want to play this game. We're going to give you a penalty kill, and successfully so, because D-Ray is back to the track, though getting caught up on El Majestic, mixed with B-Shears and Defunk. Defunk is just not having it. They're working the tractor trailer. B-Shears pushes him out, takes D-Ray back mid-front straightaway. Wow.
And you know that both those jammers must be getting tired against those hard walls of defense. And unfortunately, neither one's able to call them off.
Oh, we are seeing a forearm against Chapin. So off to the penalty box he goes. And right now, power jam for D-Ray. And we can even see, Defunk getting cycled back. And the blocking does take a toll as well. So everyone, really having to put forth their best effort. B-Shears was going to draw a cut. We'll see if one was actually assessed. No cut call, but 4 points for D-Ray and Toronto. hard earned for sure. Taking some deep breaths at Jam's end. And Toronto sits at 65 now. 40 points separate Mohawk Valley and Toronto, with Quad Fathers at 105. Team timeout called by Mohawk Valley. So we had talked about how our schedule as we move on today. Maelstrom and Montreal are up next. It's interesting to see with both Maelstrom and Montreal. Over time, the rosters have changed up a bit. Seeing some new blood, and I think on both, there's at least a handful of veteran skaters, but then you have some new folks in the mix. And it's really working for them this year. Seeing Maelstrom walk away with the win yesterday. I don't want to say walk away because they really had to work hard for it against Mohawk Valley. But there are plenty of new players in the mix. But Hasselman, talk about a throwback, formerly known as Peter Rottentail, a.k.a. Roddy, back on the team. And then we have other new folks making statements like Rosencrumb. And then for Montreal, veteran jammer, Viking Size, still there on the roster. But then we have some new additions, Luke Ness Monster in the jammer stable. But then seeing veterans like Buddy Ollie out there, as a blocker. So it's a really nice mix. Cannot wait to see how that one turns out. But right now, returning to the track.
Yep, and it looks like Biff Malibu is out there jamming for Toronto, just grabbing that lead jammer position. Showing some great footwork and making his way through the pack there. Though it looks like another blocker from Mohawk Valley is rejoining from the penalty box, so they might not have as good of a time trying to get through as they just did. Looks like we are skating again with a full pack as those skaters all return. 4 more points going up on the board for Toronto.
And we've had a star pass for Mohawk Valley to Defunk. Pink's Laminate attacking those links presented by the Quad Fathers at the front of the pack. Jam is called 4-0 in favor of Toronto. They're at 69, of course, Bill and Ted's favorite number, to a 105 for Mohawk Valley Roller Derby. Good morning, Babular.
Julio and Senior Wiener. Got the name right that time. My biggest obstacle.
Well, what gets us, it's deceptive. In this particular case on this morning's roster, we have it written as Senor. However, there's no, I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the actual curvy little symbol. Forgive me. It's early.
Is it a tilde?
What?
Is it a tilde?
A tilde. Thank you, Chad.
Tilda Swinton?
Not Tilda Swinton, but easy to remember that way. But definitely not a tilde, though Senior Wiener, still battling it out. But Julio just running past. Did you see that side eye as Julio exited the pack, looking back at Senior Wiener?
Yeah, he said, here we go.
Shade, the shade of it all.
Ooh, he's able to get through there nice and quick. 4 more points and then blocking Toronto from getting anything else and calling off that pack. Keeping a hard eye on Toronto's jammer.
So I know now I'm going to have to go back in the archive. Might have to GIF the side eye. It's going to be so perfect. I know already, in case Chad wasn't aware, because I know he can hear us, that someone already went back to clip some of the archive footage from the Maelstrom game yesterday. I know Smite, a.k.a. Pickering, went back to get his somersault. And that was awesome because I missed it during the course of gameplay, but got to watch it and I said, you're going to GIF it, right? He goes, what do you think I'm doing? Well, we know what Stankus is up to. Stankus secures lead, ready to rack up the points. Stever to the penalty box, while 2 blockers in the box for Toronto. So that pack advantage is strong right now for Mohawk Valley. The call from the bench, that's Gutshot saying, hey, buddy, call it. Stankus does after picking up 4. No points for D-Ray on that jam.
You know, Mohawk has had a sharp eye out for the Toronto Jammers, making sure they're able to call off that pack just before they're able to grab any more points, trying to keep a secure hold on that lead.
As we know, differential is a component to the rankings, so everyone really fighting it out. I mean, we had a great example last night. Maine's Port Authorities up against Muddy River's Lumber Smacks. They knew that they were not winning the game. However, Maine was able to reduce the differential from 70 points to 20 by game's end. And that was just from halfway point maybe of the second half of the game. So really just an incredible feat. So everyone really keeping that in mind too. House Tar picks up 4. Pack right now keeping it slow, slightly divided in turn 2. Mohawk Valley at the front, holding it down, but going with the O, courtesy of Boxcar and Pink Slaminade, attempting to help out Biff Malibu, but he appears caught up as a full cube of blockers assemble in front of him. Stever drops, and a brace 2-wall happens. There was a star pass to Boxcar. She is all over it, while House Star picks up 4. Majestic in the penalty box, so no pivot option for House Tar, but I don't think he's too worried.
You know, B-Share is also being sent to the penalty box. And it looks like Mohawk calls it. 3 more points up on the board for Mohawk Valley. Toronto getting nothing on that pass. Deb Crush and Senior Wiener. Wonder how many mouth guards she has on her right now.
Perhaps she left a spare at the bench. I don't know. But, you know, as long as she has the one in her mouth, it works. But Wiener able to spring forward, securing lead under 9 seconds. Deb Crush in the pack, fighting it out currently against Spencer Sleep. She is able to escape. So right now, eligible to score. Wiener picks up 4 on his initial scoring trip. Deb Crush going for it. El Majestic released from the penalty box. Going a one-on-one with Spencer Sleep, seeing what he can do to create a diversion. But right now, Senior Wiener ducking, dipping, diving, and dodging, attempting to get past the shoulder dance presented by El Majestic. But it is Fuerza Brutal partnering with El Majestic, driving Wiener to the infield, cycling back to the top of the backstretch.
So we have a solid pack of blockers right here. All 4 lining up to prevent Toronto, and he calls it.
Street Fight Manifesto really putting in the work against Deb Crush as well, holding her to 3 points.
Stankus and D-Ray.
With a full complement of blockers on the track. Just Tara setting up to get a pick for D-Ray. D-Ray going to spin off the back of El Majestic. El Majestic not having it. Zalkowski, his partner, in putting those brakes on at the front of the pack. Stankus pushing up against Sleep and Boxcar. Stankus able to make it work. Lead achieved. And despite the attempt at a hip catch and moving steadfastly from El Majestic, D-Ray does escape the pack, though no points. Total of 4 for the Quad Fathers, 135 to 77. We're officially in the last quarter of the game. It's 14 minutes. 10 seconds on the clock. There was a forearm penalty assessed to Zalkowski, so he's off to the penalty box. 1's coming off the track for Mohawk Valley. So that leaves Fuerza Brutal, Defunk, and Oxenfree to block for Chapin. And that penalty was assessed by Peterson. Probably one of the, I think he's a sweet person in general, but one of the kindest deliveries when explaining a penalty. So proud that we have him at Providence. Boxcar set up to give a pick to Biff Malibu, but he doesn't need it on the outside because he makes the inside line work. Chapin stashes the star, gets forced out by Spencer Sleep, drawn back to jammer line.
Biff Malibu trying to push his way through on the inside, making it through, putting up 4 more points for Toronto roller derby. Looks like all blockers are back from Mohawk Valley.
Now DeFunk appears to have been handed the star. Spencer Sleep putting the hands up saying, okay, didn't touch him, I'm not engaging. So no penalty assist to Sleep. Though DeFunk gets out, star does not get applied to his helmet. 3 points to 0 on that last scoring trip for Toronto, a total of 7 in that jam.
We have Senior Wiener and Julio again lining up.
So Senior Wiener heads up the outside line, ends up one-footed, hopping around. Let's see, knocked down to the infield on the turn 2 apex, though does pick up lead, able to get through first. Julio gets through. Wiener calls it, keeping it goose eggs.
And it looks like Julio was called with a penalty.
Oh.
It looks like it might have been a high block. I think that's what I saw.
Oh, okay. So Wiener must have seen it. I did see him looking to the infield. I think he was watching the Packraft to find out the call. It was an incredibly smart derby by Senior Wiener. He also, I don't know if you were aware, because some folks don't know, that he also officiates roller derby and coaches.
Oh, it would definitely help you out on the track.
A lot of insight. Yeah.
So
You know, he's not just the Bill Streaker and a rescuer of cats.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about the cats. He really did. There's a video, in case you missed it. This is from last year sometime, where he actually climbed a tree to save a cat. Kind as well. 4 points for D-Ray.
If I could climb trees, I'd probably be saving more cats. I
Yeah.
just can't do it.
Hey, we all do what we can.
D-Ray gets that nice jump. Oh, no, but it looks like he is called. He has to head back into the pack. But there he goes. Didn't seem to matter. 4 more points for D-Ray, thrown up on the board for Toronto roller derby.
Oh, direction of gameplay call against D Shears. So that could be, I believe he's sitting at 6 penalties, because at the end of period 1, D Shears was at 4. Pink's laminate to the box as well for Toronto, so a 3-on-3 line in the pack. Spencer Sleep, that brutal hit, but ends up with a forearm. So that, I believe, is penalty number 6 for Spencer Sleep. Power jam now for Julio as D-Ray having a seat. So it's almost as if our referees right now are playing Oprah in the sense of penalties. A penalty for you, a penalty for you, a penalty for you. Because that's a pretty busy penalty box. Briefly with 3 Toronto blockers in it. And we know that it can fluctuate. Some teams have higher activity at different times during the game. Pink's laminate and boxcar. Oh, no. Billy the Kid holding it down in the front, but Julio quickly sidesteps. Pink's laminate headed back to the box. Billy the Kid all by himself. Oh, there's Spencer Sleep. There we go. Pushing the pace of the pack. But Julio having a particularly fruitful jam. As did D-Ray. So Toronto now sitting at 100 and Mohawk Valley at 154. So it was a 19-16 jam in favor of the Quad Fathers.
So with a 54-point lead, Toronto finally breaking into the 3 digits at 100 points.
Let's see what we have here. Is an official timeout. This could have to do with the penalties as we were discussing it. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Mass Maelstrom would like to thank RollerDerbyMerch.com and Deb Crush for being the vendor providing the Battle of Bunker Hill Invitational 2019 commemorative tees and tanks. And you can get one of those if you come visit us in-house. And, of course, the customization is available by Unicycle Turtle for a very reasonable cost, depending upon what you want. Goldie Gloves able to customize with heat press design. Right now, Biff Malibu with the star against Stankus, getting driven to the inside by Boxcar, running the drawback to the jammer line. Stankus, though, must have noticed that Boxcar perhaps went out. No? Let's see what all this about. Stankus goes out in turn one, appears to have maybe taken a shoulder to the nose. That happens occasionally. Stever returning from the penalty box, as well as Pink Slaminade.
Yeah, I think what happened, I don't think that Boxcar went out, but I don't think that Stankus went out, and Boxcar thought that he did.
You know, wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Stankus not pleased with the outcome of that jam, but 4 points for Toronto.
House Star and Senior Wiener lining up. Looks like we have one block for Mohawk Valley. The pivot is currently in that penalty box.
Yes, El Majestic. Now, El Majestic has been a frequent flyer in the second period, so we'll see what his penalty count is. He's maybe at 5 at this time. Lead secured by Senior Wiener. Haustar still battling that wall of white, though just sliced down the middle. Senior Wiener out with 4 points on the first scoring trip. Keeps it that way. Haustar looked slightly disappointed as the jam ended. You know, it's the, oh, but I want to go get the points. And besides, skating is fun. I want to keep going. Deb Crush v. D-Ray. And 4-3 pack advantage for Toronto right now as El Majestic standing in the penalty box. Ooh, B-Shears getting Billy the Kid caught on up. It was almost mid-tripod with Rufo and Zalkowski. I wouldn't have wanted to be caught in that little blocker jail.
No, there's a lot of these blockers I would not want to be up against either.
Yeah, but I mean, being actually stuck in the middle, that's bizarre. I don't see that often. Clearly, Billy the Kid did not shy away. Just 1 point yielded by D-Ray. So currently 109 for Toronto, 154 for Mohawk Valley. Send a pigeon to Mac. Stop going live in 1 week. Stop.
So you can't read from the bottom.
I'm sorry. Oh, Mac wants a pigeon.
A carrier
Okay.
pigeon. That's
Yes.
a telegram.
Local
Stop.
pigeon service. I didn't know those still existed.
Well, I don't know if it does.
Well, you're going to bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring in the pigeon service back.
One day I was on my way home. I saw a sign that was roller pigeons for sale. I got very excited.
Did you get a picture of the sign at least?
No, but I looked up what roller pigeons were,
Oh.
and they are trick birds. So they fly, and then they will do like a tumble roll through the air, and I guess they have like competitions for them, which is pretty amazing.
Oh my God! I need to YouTube this. That's amazing.
So that could be a new halftime show.
Roller pigeons. Ah, yeah.
Then for a while I was like, I gotta get me a roller pigeon. I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's amazing. Confusing us. You know, squirrel, roller pigeon, what? So right now we are awaiting the end of this team timeout. And of course, there's some track maintenance going on. So shout outs to the 2 adhesive demarcation technicians on the track. We appreciate you. Oh, I think Chad would find this interesting. This is a little Derby Kenny for you via letter Kenny. I took a call at work on Friday, and the person's name was Derry. And I seriously, if anyone out there is a fan of Letterkenny, you know one of the main characters is Derry in Letterkenny. And I seriously had to put myself on mute because I started giggling. And all I could think of was like Derry's super soft birthday. It's amazing.
Defunct getting that lead jammer position for Mohawk Valley Roller Derby.
Speaking of amazing,
2 points before calling it off, blocking Toronto from creeping up on them anymore.
and that's the whole thing right now. Toronto's really looking perhaps to have some high output jams. Senior Wiener coming to the track a couple of weeks ago. Mohawk Valley Cup, first game for Toronto. Senior Wiener was out there jamming, established lead very quickly, and I believe had put out a 23-point jam to start. You want to talk about boom goes the dynamite, you know,
Right.
dropping that mic. So right now, perhaps hoping for some high output to take away from that differential. But we'll see, because right now, Rufo's got something to say about that. Doing the little shoulder dance, but Senior Wiener out with lead to his credit. Stankus versus Spencer Sleep going out. Well, going down, but not out. Stankus sidesteps in turn 3. Is not lead, but Senior Wiener battling the defense of Mohawk Valley. Calls the jam, only 2 points. So no high output, but again, those small gains. And if you are stopping by the venue later today, if you're local, don't forget, each team has brought merchandise of their own to help support their derby journeys. So make sure during their games, they should have tables with their merch out. I know Providence did yesterday, Twin State Derby, a few of the others. So of course, you know, if you're looking for those awesome team tees or other exclusive merch, this is an excellent opportunity for you to score some. House Tar getting caught on up in Toronto.
Oh, there we go, and D-Ray goes ahead and breaks his way through, getting the lead jammer for Toronto. Still no pass yet from Mohawk Valley. Looks like it was close, but did not happen.
Now, D-Ray and Senior Wiener seem to be the more effective jammers as far as, you know, so far here at Battle of Bunker Hill this weekend.
And here he is proving that again with 4 more points throwing up on the board for Toronto.
Now, in the pack, we really are seeing a crush happen, seeing Toronto get on in there and do what they can to wrap around the Mohawk Valley defense. It looks like Forza Brutal took a knock to the face, perhaps. Check in for a bloody nose, but it appears to be all right. She said she's okay as she rolls off. 6 points to 0 on that jam for Toronto. So 117 for them, 156 for Mohawk Valley. And Mohawk Valley Roller Derby not only hosted the Mohawk Valley Cup this year, but in August they'll host the Men's Roller Derby Association's North American Qualifier. That's the North American Playoff. So that will be in August. Make sure you check out the MRDA Facebook page and MRDA.com for more information, and Mohawk Valley sharing that information as well.
See Just Tara playing some terrific offense for Toronto, doing her best to try and make a hole for their jammer to get through. But it looks like it's, what was it, Julio? Julio going ahead and grabbing the lead jammer position for Mohawk Valley. I didn't want to call him polio by accident.
No. Yeah, you know what was easier for me before I got to know Julio, because I know Julio and Q up at CNY, and they're both fabulous. Oh, and keeping it fancy with the hop on turn 3. Like I said.
Fancy jamma.
And Spencer Sleep cycling back. But yes, just very good people, hospitable. And they saved me a lot of money, so I didn't have to pay for a hotel when I went up there this year.
It's always a plus.
Yeah, they're really awesome. No, just in general, the Central New York folks between CNY Roller Derby and Quad Fathers, just really wonderful. And really tended to set the tone for their hospitality at events, inspiring, of course, the wonderful hospitality here at Battle of Bunker Hill, which is just fantastic because Maelstrom has done a wonderful job with that as well.
It looks like we have an official review right now for Toronto Men's Roller Derby. Right now, Biff Malibu, their jammer, is in the box. So it most likely has something to do with that.
Yes, and here's Dirk Shearer. Referee is over there having a conversation with Biff. Perhaps, oh, okay. It does appear we have a foul out. So, senior, oh, yes. Senior Wiener will serve as jammer. So perhaps oh no. Oh, it appears the penalty may have been rescinded. Not a foul out, but we'll get official confirmation shortly. You know, this is what happens when you speculate wildly.
Yeah.
Let's not. I try not to, but
There's a conclusion.
the
Let's jump to
curiosity.
it.
Yes. Oh, jump to conclusions, Matt.
Yeah.
Oops. Wiener is at it up against Stankus, who gets caught up on sleep. Not actual sleep, but Spencer sleep. Driven to the outside mid-back stretch. Lead secured by Senior Wiener and Toronto. All of the loud noises because this could be our very last jam. Sleep to the penalty box. Stever going to cycle back, attempting to draw a cut on Senior Wiener to no avail. Boxcar gets right on Stever, and Senior Wiener goes right around, picks up 4. Now both teams still have their official reviews because the official review call by Toronto obviously granted, got Biff Malibu out of the box. So they can use that at this point in the game to extend just a bit.
Yep, and it looks like a timeout is being called right now. Oh, or an official review like we were just discussing.
Well, Toronto's using their official review. If not for an actual review, perhaps a timeout, but we'll get the update on that. Okay, and Senior Wiener, you can see the signal that his team is utilizing this official review just as a timeout.
Trying to build just a bit more last-minute strategy before they're going into that last jam.
And up next, our 11 a.m. game, Mass Maelstrom versus Montreal's Roller Derby Masculine, the Mont Royals.
At 1 p.m., we have a Muddy River versus Twin State.
Oh, and at 3, Maine's Port Authorities versus Providence Roller Derby's Rhode Island Riveters. I think perhaps we return.
I know that I'm back here.
Yes,
so you may
I
be
do
with
believe.
me. Yep.
Yes, I'll double check it. That should be lots of fun.
Then at 5 p.m., we have Toronto versus Maelstrom.
And Mohawk Valley will be back against Montreal to close things out. That's our 7 p.m. game. So much more Derby to go here at Battle of Bunker Hill 2019, Day 2. And jam is on shape out. Oh, Stankus versus D-Ray. Stankus going out there with lead to his credit. D-Ray cycled out in turn 1. El Majestic, along with Zalkowski, really putting the stops on D-Ray, cycling him back to pivot line. Pink's Lemonade getting in there, going to play some O. Meanwhile, Stankus puts up 4.
Stankus takes a pretty hard hit, has to go back, but looks like he goes ahead and calls that out. Toronto not able to put any more points up on the board in that last jam.
And of course, the period clock has expired. So the opportunity for timeouts or official reviews, we will not see Mohawk Valley utilizing them because they are not in a position to do so. So currently, Mohawk Valley at 166, 121 for Toronto. Hey, announcer curse did not strike again, Babula. So those 6 points. And yep, 166, 121. We hear the whistle. And just waiting for the official confirmation to see the score finalized. But yes, so stick around for Maelstrom versus Montreal up next. And no, they did not have another. So 166 to 121. That is your final score. Congratulations to the Quad Fathers of Mohawk Valley Roller Derby, and also to Toronto Roller Derby for a hard-fought game. You know, whittling things down a bit, so you know, they can be proud of themselves for not too much of a margin. I'm Beautiful Banshee.
And this is Johnny Weird. We'll see you again at 3.
Yeah.